Alright, what is up? Make sure my mic's on. Cool. We're back live. So today, just down a little bit. Today we'll be working kind of like on the same thing we did last time, our LRUCache. So basically what we did last time is we were able to basically create all the endpoints. So I have these messages endpoints, and I was able to get the API working and then get the cache working. So now whenever I hit request to the API, it is routing request to the cache first, checking if data is there, and then if it is, pulling returning that. If it's not, it hits the database and then tries to pull data there, pull from the database. And I have this little sleep function happening, so basically we know for sure if it hits database if the request is taking a long time, because right now I have a 5-second timeout. Let's change this to 3 actually. I don't feel like waiting for 5 seconds. But yeah, so now it's at 3 seconds. So now whenever we hit the database, we will essentially wait for 3 seconds, and then so if the cache is empty, hit the database, wait for 3 seconds. If the cache is not empty, won't wait at all. So that's kind of how we can tell if we're hitting the cache or not. I do have my API up, so let's actually do some curl requests to make sure that's working. To know that the cache is indeed there, and if I do a post request, if I do a post request, it should invalidate the cache and then make the oh, I think oh yeah. Okay, now I know. So that's actually one thing I'm working today. So you saw before that I did this curl request to create a new message, and technically that should invalidate the cache. Actually, no, it shouldn't invalidate the cache because it's going to just this one. Right, it's going this way, yeah. Anyways, if we hit, I think it's number 8082 messages, then yes, we indeed invalidate the cache there. Cool. Yeah, so, and then if we go to 881, do the same thing, where cache should not be there, or the cache should be empty, or invalidated at least, and then boom, cool. So we were indeed able to do some messages. Awesome. Let's see, just bring it down, start over. So what I'm gonna do today is just kind of clean up a little of this code, because right now I have all of it in my main function, and that makes it pretty hard to test, because you can test main functions, but you know, we don't really have a data structure, any mocks to really test out things. So I'm gonna actually remove a lot of this stuff to a structure so that way I can test it and do some mocking. So first thing I want to do is I want to create a internal package. Kind of all my internal stuff is going to be moved to an internal package. Right, and then everything in the list package I want to move to internal. So let's see, move. I'm just going to copy it over first. Move everything in list to internal. Internal now. Cool. List is an internal. And then same with the cache. So I'm going to copy over everything from the cache to internal. Yeah, how's everyone doing? How's it going? How's a Sunday afternoon? Today, actually, my wife and I did a little photo shoot today. So my wife's pregnant, so we had a maternity shoot. So we did some maternity shoots today. So that was pretty fun. Yeah, how's everyone else going? How's your Sunday been? Lazy Sundays? Let's see. Check out internal package. Cool, everything's in internal. So I'm just gonna rename some of the things in internal. Let's do... Oh, nice. If it's been slow day working? Are you like working on like personal stuff, or what are you working on? Get some errors because my namespaces don't all match up. Gotta make sure they're all the names, all the same namespace. Yeah. LRUCache, now cache, move that, internal, and then you might hear a little bit of my wife doing some vacuuming, but it should work. Oh dang, technical support. How's that been? Yeah, how has it been? Like, are you doing work full time while you're doing LA, or while you're doing launch school? I never. I personally didn't do working. I didn't work while I was doing launch school. And I've always been like really impressed with people who could both do working and launch school, because I feel like just so much to do. Like launch school is just so much that, like, you know, after especially because you saying you do technical support, so you're already in kind of a technical field. So it must be really hard to like go to work, do technical things, and then come home and then do more launch school, just more technical stuff. I feel like, yeah, that'd be draining, but how's it been for you? Let's check what my errors are. Oh, I got 2 news in this, that's why. Yeah, I can definitely see that. Yeah, I mean, what course are you in right now? How far in launch school are you? Are you leaving, like, you're leaving your job? Oh, 2:15, nice, you're almost done. Nice. Are you gonna do capstone? You're looking to do capstone? Rename this. So many errors. That should be good. Nervous to ask about what? About capstone? Like to request to be in capstone? Like to submit the application for it? New link list. And this should be good. Yeah, I mean, imposter syndrome is pretty common. I mean, I've been writing I've been writing an article recently, like and it's kind of like the article I'm gonna write about is kind of like the things I've learned from writing technical articles, kind of like a meta article. But so I wrote this article on imposter syndrome a little while ago. It was basically called like, am I a real engineer yet, or am I a real software engineer yet? And it's kind of like my kind of experiences with imposter syndrome. And I mean, writing that article is kind of nice because it just let me know that like a lot of people definitely feel like imposter syndrome, and it's really common. But yeah, I mean, I would say just totally go for it, like, because I mean, because once you like 2:15, I always forget. I think 2:30 is the end of the launch school curriculum, right? And so once you finish 2:30, you should be able to apply. And I'd say totally go for it, like. I had a really good experience with capstone, so I have nothing but good things to say about it. It'll definitely help you with the what is it? With the whole job search. I mean, and learning everything you need for like you know, technical interviews and all that stuff. It's tough. Technical interview really tough. You know what? I don't really feel like refactoring all of this. Especially, so you know what I'm just gonna get out of here. I don't feel like doing the intro package right now. I'm just gonna move it. Alright. Instead, what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna make a new structure, new directory. Call it, make API. Yeah, I'll call it API. But yeah, I would say like, I don't know. Yeah, like I said, I had a lot of fun with Capstone. I mean, if you have any questions about Capstone, feel free to ask. Yeah. I mean, I think Capstone's really good. You could definitely get a job without it. Plenty of people got a job without it, but it just like, it's like a crash course basically. You learn a lot through Capstone. You learn a lot. Which course was your favorite so far? Like the Capstone curriculum, what was your favorite so far? Oh, nice. Yeah, Davis is really interesting. Davis stuff is interesting. Yeah. Davis stuff is. I remember it took me a while to really get through it, just because like, you're learning an entirely new language like SQL. You're learning, but SQL is like, I would say definitely learn your SQL. That is I mean, it depends on the job you work at, but I would say a lot of companies use SQL, and like you might have to use write like raw SQL. Like at my job right now, for the most part we write like raw SQL, just because Go, the language I'm typing right now, doesn't really have a great ORM. There's some stuff, but for the most part we just kind of write just raw SQL, and it's pretty fun. It's kind of nice to write out raw SQL. API. What should I pass here? Just gonna turn a blank API for now until I can figure out what to put with it, and then let's do like make some methods for it. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move all of these methods, so all of these like function handler methods, and move all of these to the API. So I think all I do is just copy and paste these. I just gotta copy and paste these all. I'm just gonna basically let's do this. Let's do. Boom. Okay, that's good. Copy paste them. Oh yeah, Ava, do you have any questions about Capstone, like, or anything you want to know about it? So yeah, good question. I was interviewing someone recently at the company I work at. We actually ended up hiring this person, but so they told during the interview they were telling me about this kind of side project they work on, where they kind of worked on this like LRUCache. It was basically like a cache, in-memory cache, but then the way they described it was like, it's a cache, everything's in memory, but you can also kind of like, if you have multiple cache nodes, you can like, basically you can have multiple cache nodes. That way, if you have different database sources and you want to basically have one global cache that can handle multiple database sources, you basically have like each cache, you have like a cache node for each of the database sources, and then one overall cache. It's a little hard to explain, but basically you can think about it like, say you have a SQL database, a MongoDB database, like all these different database sources, and instead of having like a cache for each of those ones, you have this one global cache that can kind of handle each of those. So it's like, oh, that sounds like a pretty cool thing. Like, so he worked on that on the side, and like, oh, it's a pretty cool thing. Like, definitely working on LRUCaches are, they involve like some simple algorithms. So, and then some data structures I haven't touched in a while. Like, I had to write a linked list for this. So, there's like some data structures and algorithm stuff that's I haven't touched in a while, and I kind of like I wanted to like kind of get back into it a little bit and do some like more low level database and the data structures and algorithm stuff. I don't see myself working on it for too long, just because like I don't want this to be like its own like open source project. It's kind of something I'm working on for fun. I think maybe after a little while working on this, I might just like get back to working on like maybe some more typical web development stuff. I haven't touched like React and JavaScript in a while, so I might want to get like touch those, like learn React again. It's been a while since I touched React. So I do know I'll need a database for this. I'm gonna write out a database. So this structural database. I'll need a cache as well. So I'll do my cache. Yeah, it's a good refresher project for sure. I've actually like I've been wanting to like learn. How do I get these people out of the chat? How do I do like I don't know how to ban people. I'm trying like how to ban these people, but I don't know how to do it. Oh, do I just like click? Oh, here we go. There we go. Ban these bots. There we go. Yeah, got them out. Yeah, I just had to click on their name. Yeah, it's like, it's just like, you know, it's been a while. Like when you work on a full-time job, it's definitely, I mean, you know, because you're working a full-time job and doing launch school, but after a while, it's hard to like work on side projects, like get the motivation to work on side projects. So having this kind of work on the side, it definitely motivates me to work, work on something. And yeah, it just like gets me working on stuff, because that's kind of the one thing I always worry about is like, you know, say for example, I like my job a lot, but say for example, I didn't want to stay at my job and I want to go somewhere else or like start interviewing again. It's been so long since I've touched like data structures and algorithm stuff that I'll be so rusty. I'd be so rusty trying to interview. That's why I like launch school a lot, because like, you know, they kind of kick your butt a little bit and like they really make you like, you gotta like, you know, study all this stuff. And so it really helped out a lot, like having to go to like, yeah, do launch school, doing capstone, kicking your butt. Like this is the stuff you need to learn for interviews. And so that was really good to learn that. Oh, I didn't put cache here. That's why. Alright, now I just gotta put all these things. Message. Oh, I gotta do a new one. Let's do JSON.go. I gotta define my messages. Where did I put that? Let's do this. All this stuff is gonna go in my JSON.go file. Alright, so that gets rid of that. Yeah, what else? So this should stay here. Cache. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna, now that I've defined my new function, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually call new here. So I'm gonna create the database. Once the database is done, I'm going to basically run my migration. Thanks, man. It's my motivational sweater, you know. I want to become like voluntarily unemployed, you know, like choose to be unemployed as opposed to like being laid off. Yeah, working my way there. Working my way there. Exactly. Exactly. My wife, my wife actually got me this for Christmas, because we were watching this show called like Terrace House. I think one of the people on the show was wearing this sweatshirt. I was like, oh, I love that sweatshirt. Like, it made me laugh. Yeah, kind of made me chuckle when I saw it. It's like, I love the sweatshirt. So she ended up getting it for my birthday. I haven't had. Oh, thanks for the follow, man. I haven't really had a good chance to wear it in public, because like you get like, you know, you get some like weird looks sometimes when you go out in public wearing this kind of shirt. And so I wore it a couple times, but like, you know, the weird looks after a while kind of get like, oh, like, you know. But then when I started streaming, it's like, oh, this is like a perfect time to start wearing the sweatshirt. It's like a perfect time to wear it. All right, now I got my DB up working. I'm gonna do API. Yeah, pass in DB cache. gonna define this here, yeah, there. Go back here. I'm going to redefine this. Let's see. What's the thing that lets me about Go is that it gives you all these compiler errors. So you know, if you're doing something wrong, it lets you know. Alright, that's there. I gotta do. Where was this defined? Nodes length. Oh, I defined it here. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it later. So let's see, LRUCache. Same here. Copy this over and just put it there. Perfect. Alright, just gotta redefine all this stuff. Make sure it's all part of the API structure. What languages do you guys usually work on? I feel like the reason why I work in Go is because I usually do it at my job. But like, I feel like JavaScript's a really popular language these days. Also like Python. I've done a little bit of both. I mean, I've done JavaScript for quite a while. I did Python a little bit. I'm just kind of curious what languages everyone else is working in. I really want to learn Rust. Rust sounds really cool. I just haven't had a chance to learn it. Ooh, I have an idea actually. I know how to do this. Oh, nice. Yeah, when I did a little bit of. I went back to school. Like, it was funny. I'm a self-taught programmer, and I got a job being self-taught. But once I started my job, I actually went back to school to get a CS degree, and so similar. I learned C++ and Java in the program. I don't remember any of it. Like, it was like one course of C++, one course of Java, one course of like Python. And so like, I learned like 3 different languages within like a year or a 6-month span. So I don't remember any of it. I remember Python more just because I have a lot of experience with Ruby. So Python's pretty close. But Java and C++, I can't remember any of it, barely. But I want to get back to it. I know a lot of important things are written in C++ and C. I just like, when it comes to low-level languages, I prefer things like Go or Rust, or preferably Go right now, just because I don't need to worry about memory management, so I don't have to do all that stuff. Let's see. So I think right now I'm just gonna not worry about this. I'm not gonna worry about any of this stuff. Do it later. So I don't need this here. That's gonna be the main function. Oh, so did you choose to do like the project in Go? I would say Go is like a really, yeah, if you ever have the excuse or chance to learn Go, I honestly like it a lot. Like, I'm kind of a little bit of a shill for Go, because like it's really easy to learn, really like simple syntax. Like, I love it in terms of a type language. It's my favorite one. There are like, obviously there are annoying things. I mean, annoying is one way of putting it. So for example, if you see here, a lot of functions will return an error. So like, the nice thing about Go is any function can return multiple values back. So you can see here, exec, if I go to the definition of this, you can see it can return results, and it can also return an error. And so you can see all down here, all of these functions are like this, where it returns a result and an error. And so what you have to do is basically have to handle that error. So you have to like say, oh, if this error came back, then you have to like panic or log the error and that kind of stuff. people like, a lot of people find that annoying. And in some ways a little bit annoying just because you have to constantly, like, it's a lot of boilerplate of like checking if the error's not there and all that stuff. But it makes it so easy to debug. Like, it makes it really, really easy to debug. Whereas like in Ruby and JavaScript, that kind of stuff, you have to like do those really ugly try catch blocks, and I feel like that makes it really ugly. Yeah, there's not really a concept of throw catch. It's more just like if something happens, like if there's an error, you can see here, if something returns back an error, return the error along with it. So, you know, if there's an error here, instead of returning back a value for results, like the best practice is to return a nil value for whatever this result is, and then return the error. Yeah, exactly. So it's, you know, Go has a really good like logging structure, and like you can have like a panic right here. So panic is kind of like throw, where you throw an error, and then in a lot of like dynamic languages, it'll like halt the execution. So like whatever runtime you're using, it'll just stop right there, and then it'll throw the error. What you can do in Go is kind of nice. Is like, you know, I could throw a panic, but what I could do is I could do something called like a defer function. So what a defer function is, defer function will run after this function finishes. So for example, once this main function returns, if I define a defer function, this function will run after the main function finishes. And what I can do is I can actually recover from a panic. So if a panic happens, I can recover from that panic and then log the error. I think it's like recover or something like that. I forgot exactly. Oh, I think it's like recover error. I think recover is a keyword. Yeah, so you see, I can recover from a panic. It's a little bit of Go stuff for you, but like, so there is a little bit of an idea of catching in Go, but it's a much cleaner than I would say in other languages. All right, one more. But how are you liking Java? I feel like, you know, Java's still so popular, like in the software world. Like in some ways, a lot of times you have to learn Java eventually. Like you're gonna be working at some job that will have Java. So I got this, and this. This should be good. Oh, I should actually so instead of hard coding this here, I should actually pass this in as a environment variable. So I'm going to return address. So instead of hard coding this address here, I'm going to actually pass this in as an environment variable. That way I can dynamically write it out on or let's log error here. I put address. Let's address. There we go. I have to redefine this. I don't feel like it's cheating with an ID. IDs are really important. I mean, like, I use Vim, but like I've made it so my Vim terminal is very much like an IDE. Like, there's a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes. I don't use like, I know a lot of people who like are like Vim purists or kind of like, you know, text editor purists. I'm not one of those. I definitely like IDEs are the way to go if you have got a good one. But I do know what you mean though, because like when I was doing my my college course, I was using like JetBrains, like I forgot, IntelliJ. I was using IntelliJ, and IntelliJ is very much like you put the dot and then boom, like a whole command list of functions you can do. But I mean, it's very much similar with Go. For example, let me if I do this, if I do like r dot, look at all these. I can just do r dot, and I've got all these lists coming out. So it's very much like you can make Vim be like that. So like even Vim, you can turn Vim into an IDE, and you know, people consider Vim like a the Holy Grail or something like that, you can make it as ID-like as you want. Let me actually get rid of all these to force myself not to use these. I don't need these anymore. Now I got my API struct. I don't need handle error. Let's see. I don't need redirect this one. Cool. All right, so I got all that. Yeah, I think this will be fine. So my API, what's the compiler area now? Oh, it actually works. Got my get my handler, commented out that. Okay, so that should work. So actually what I'm gonna do is, instead of defining my cache as an actual structure, because the reason why I move this all to a structure is because I want to test it out better. I want to actually be able to test this. So what I'm going to do is, instead of actually making a real cache, I'm going to actually write an interface. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write, if I go into API, I'm going to make a clients directory. And then in my clients directory, I'm going to define my interface. So for my cache, let's see. Get rid of that. So type cache interface. My interface is going to define what API method it's going to use. And so instead of actually this is going to be, clients cache. Yeah, it's not going to be a pointer. Misspelled it. All right, and so what methods am I using for my cache? I gotta define those methods. So I got get. I define get. And this accepts, what is it? A accepts, what's happening? Oh, because I have, okay. Before I do this, let's undo this. All right, now I'm gonna define it. All right, get accepts a key and returns the interface. So what I'm doing right now is I'm basically just defining an interface. So instead of using like a hard structure here, I want to define an interface. That way I can easily mock that interface, and so I can use like a fake structure in my tests. So right now I have to define my interface, and so in my create message, actually just look up cache. Where do I use this? Invalidate. Okay, I gotta define an invalidate method. Invalidate takes a key. I think I have a set method as well. So set, what does that take? It takes a key to the string and then a value, I believe, and that's just the interface. And then that returns an interface. Pretty sure. Let me look up set. Make sure I actually have it defined. Yeah, okay, set. Okay, here you go. So, no, go back. Okay. Do I use set in here? Okay, I have set there, set. That's different. So I use cache. Okay, so I think I only, no, do I use remove? No, I think I only use get, set, and invalidate. Okay, so I have my client here. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to replace this with my interface. So clients.cache. So as long as this cache implements the interface, which it does, then I should have no errors. So let me run my compiler. No errors, cool. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to use a library called Mockery that will basically mock out, let's get rid of that. I have to find how to download it. It's been a while. Do I have Mockery? No, I don't. Okay, I gotta download it. So this is basically just a library that will mock, like automatically oh, I can use GoKit, that's nice. It will automatically like basically auto generate mocks for you, which is nice. So if you use Ruby, factory bot does the same thing. But this is basically just create auto generating so let's see, auto generating mocks. Mockery, cool. Let's make, where am I? Let's go to API. And let's make file mocks. So what I'm gonna do, forgot exactly how do I use mockery. I always, whenever I use mockery, it's always like already defined for me. So I got mockery. So I'm gonna use, I think it's gonna be mockery in package, and then I think that I have to try to find the dir too, because the wherever, and dir is gonna be clients. Oh, I think name of the package. I think package is this, or name. Here's name. Name the interface. Okay, name. So let me look up. I think I do this. So name, and this is gonna be cache, because that's the name of my interface. Yep. Okay. So let's try that. All right, cool. So now if you go, if I list my clients package, you see I have a mock cache. Oh, it should be lowercase. Can I make it lowercase if I do that? Oh, case here. Oh, I think I have to do this. So I'm gonna do that again. So let me remove. And I'm gonna do case underscore. Yeah, that's what it is. Alright, so now if I list my clients package, boom, okay, mock cache. And so you can see here, if I that's basically I have a fake structure that will implement my cache. So that way that will allow me to do testing. So actually let's do that. Let's make some tests real quick. So if I go to my API right now. All right, so let's test out my list messages handler. Let's do that. So let's create some tests for it. Make a new file. Func test. Let's do API. List messages handler. I want to make sure that this actually works before I start going too far with it. I'm passing the testing package. Now let's define my test. It's been a while since I've written tests for HTTP and packages. Let's do a little Google searching. All right. I think you want to use like a fake server. I remember that. I think it's this. Okay. Yeah. So I'm gonna write out. Basically, just copy this stuff. That's great software engineering, right? You just copy stuff. So. Forget. I hate doing hard-coded strings. Oh, I actually I have to define my routes. So I think when I do go here, I have to do mux. Right. New server. Oh, right, but I actually don't need it, actually. Okay, I don't actually need to, okay, I'm fine. I thought for some reason I needed to find my routes in my API package, but I don't need to. Request, and this is gonna go. What's my route again? Messages. Or should I messages? All right. Fatal, and then let's do new recorder. And then what we're gonna do now, I'm going to, oh yeah, so this is where this stuff comes in. So you know how I made that mocker before? I made that I got the mock cache. I'm gonna do cache is gonna equal clients mock cache. I believe that's what the name was. Is that what that's right? Mock cache, yeah, so mock cache, okay. Mock cache, and so also one other thing I have to do is I have to actually create a fake database too. I think Datadog created a mocking, let's see, SQL mock. They created a mock package for databases, which I've used. So I log, okay, I'm just gonna grab this. Yeah. Alright, down that. What? Not root. What are you talking about? Oh, I wrote it wrong. There we go. Much better. Alright, so I downloaded that, and then I'm gonna do. Okay. I do this, right? I think like okay, so I have to put in the driver. Do SQL mock. Okay, SQL mock new. That's right. So I do SQL mock new. Go to the top. Reorder my packages. Import the package. Oh, not that one. Come on, import this one. There we go. All right, so I haven't called it yet. And I'm gonna do db mock error SQL mock new. Boom. Should we find what's wrong here? Yes, it is. You're lying to me. Yep, I knew it. You lied to me. Got cache, got db mock. No? Need mock. Oh yeah, I do need mock. I didn't expect. Okay. And so what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to actually create a kind of a fake API structure. And it's gonna be passing that DB, that fake DB that Datadog defines, and then pass in the mock. Oh no, the cache. There we go. Boom. And since we've defined, since we're using a interface instead of an actual cache structure, I can use this mock cache. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to API list messages handler. Recorder. So what do they do? So basically, I want to serve. So, func. Handler. Yep. Serve HTTP. Okay, so it's going to be handler. You're going to do serve HTTP, and you're going to pass in the request record or response recorder, and then the request. All right, and then what's going to happen is, if things go well, it should return 200. Oh, and I can actually define. So what I need to do is, since I'm using a mock, I need to define what the mock's going to return. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna do cache on, and then I'm gonna say when it calls get, because in the list it calls get here. So on get, and then I'm gonna do, it's gonna be slash messages, because that's the path. So this is like basically I need to define what's the request, what request name is it's gonna get, and then what are the arguments. I go to this, that's right. I go to this. Oh, come on. Just to make sure that things are working, let me actually configure. Let's do go test. What failures am I seeing? Oh, okay, I'm gonna do mock. I don't use mock right now. I probably will use it, but yeah, okay, so everything's fine. So for some reason I'm not getting the definition here. Vim doesn't want to play along right now. But basically, so I'm gonna pass in, so I'm call the method and then I call the first parameter. And so make sure, so it's gonna get, yeah. And then what I'm gonna say is that it's gonna return nil. Return nil. So when get gets called with this path, it's gonna return nil. And so then it's going to call the database, because it calls the database down here, and I'm just gonna copy, so I need to let's see. I need to do, oh, so this is where I call mock. So I need to get mock back. Mock. And then expect query. This is where I copy it. So I should expect that query, and then when I should also expect this query. All right, and then when it calls this query, I think I can define what it can return. Let's go mock, expect, begin, blah, blah. Here we go, query matching. Oh, come on. No. Oh, I'm pretty sure. The only thing execution. I'm sure you can do expect query. Okay, never mind. I know what to do. Expect query. Oops. And then so expect query, and then oh, come on, what's happening? Okay, so boom, go here, and then what's gonna happen is it's like with results. Oh, will return. Right. Just do return. Pretty sure that's in here. What? Oh, there you go. Oh, it's too late. Come on, data. You need better. Oh, reference, here we go. SQL mock. So I want expect query, will return rows. There we go. There we go. That's what I want. will return rows. New rows. So it's, I believe, ID and message. Alright, so return new rows and message. Rows. Add row. Okay, I want to add row. Actually, it's a little clunky right now, so let's define this out here. Are you guys excited for Christmas or whatever? I mean, whatever holiday you guys are celebrating. Are you guys excited for the holiday season? I guess it's tough with all the pandemic and stuff. Normally, I go to my in-laws' house and have like a big old gathering, but this year it might just be like more like a remote gathering, you know, a Zoom Christmas. What are you guys doing for the holidays? Oh, text, I believe. All right, turn those. And then status, yeah. So the code should be 200. I'm returning 200. Yeah, so that's okay. Just 200, cool. So, status, what do they do? Yeah. It's like if status, yeah, there is. If status, which is, they pull from here, our code. Does not equal HTTP status, okay? Then we get basically return some sort of error because it should be okay. Yeah, just copy that. That's a good enough message. Boom. So HTTP return the rows. And I'm actually going to unmarshal the response body because I want that. For our body close. Oh wait. There we go. Alright, what's happening here? There we go, that's better. All right, so I'm going to defer that, and then what I want to do is I want to do I have list response. So response, it's going to be a list response. What I want to do is I want to do error. It's going to be JSON new decoder, right? New reader, which I think is this. So new decoder, it's gonna pass in our body. Okay, I'm gonna do this actually. Our body, result body, and then decode results. I gotta do this also. Results. That's better. List response. Oh, misspelled it. And then error. Yeah. Do the same thing here. So handle return. So I'm gonna do this actually. Oh, that wasn't supposed to be that. Just gonna change this error message. Should be could not decode JSON body. All right, and then now I'm gonna do some assertions. So asserts that equal that the response ID, so the response ID should be equal 1, because that's what I have here. And also that the message or the text, oh, actually, so it should be this messages first one should be ID, and then messages the first one, it's text, right? Text should equal test. And then I also want to assert the length. So assert length. I think it's oh, object. Okay, so it's going to be result messages, and the length should be 1. All right. I think the and then I also want to assert that these expectations are met. So mock. So go back here. This has its own assert expectations. I think it's yeah, this basically just want to copy and paste that. I want to make sure that all the mocks I've declared, all their expectations are met. Same with asserts, or like it's like a cache assert. Go back to mock read. Mock, all that stuff. Where I'm pretty sure I need to do like expectation. All right. An example for me. It's exert expectation or something like that. And I pass in T. Pretty sure that's right. That's how I use it. That's typically how I've used it. Let's just do a quick little go test, see how it works. Failed. Aye. Well, I also misspelt it. Expectations. Right? Yeah. Ooh. So panic runtime at 50 rows.next. But that should not have happened because I have. All right, so let's see here. Row, add row. Test. Maybe if we do it out here, maybe a little better. Oh. I should go test them. Oh, come on. I think I have to like go up one level. Let's see. I'll make file here. Okay, well, let's go test everything. Query cannot match. With respected. Interesting. Okay, I should have that. Oh, I need this. So what's saying is that could not match actual with expected. This one. What else do I got here? I got line 44 API test. Something's going on. Oh, it's just that stack trace. Line 50. I think it's before. Line 50, I have rows.next. Basically what's saying is that rows is returning back false, or returning back nil. Which is weird. Why is returning back nil? I'm just gonna do a little, you know, some debugging, super advanced debugging. What I'm gonna do is gonna be rows. Let's try that again. So it is nil. Okay. So it should not be nil. Oh, I think the reason is because it expects this. So, but I do call this query in here. If I call it sleep. Maybe let's try commenting it out and see what happens. Ah, so I guess for some reason I don't need to mock out this request because it's not actually like returning anything. I guess what it is. I forgot I actually need to do set as well because I do set something. Sets, and it's going to be I believe so. Yeah, it's gonna be set. Actually, I can just do mock anything. Let's think about this. I can do mock anything of type. I'm just gonna be string. Actually, no, it's gonna be type bytes. Let's try that. Ah. Let me redefine this as M. This would be M. With this. All right, so that's, and now it mocks. Cool. So that should be fine. Now let's try that. What error am I getting now? Ah, right. Because I do actually pass in this argument first. Now let's try it. Interesting. Okay, so it looks like in actuality, this is not a type of array byte, but actually a type of array int 8. UInt 8? Is that what it is? Sorry, a lot of it's like Go type nonsense. This is getting closer at least. Alright, what error do I have now? Not equal expected in actual int before 1. Okay, that's kind of annoying. Just different types. Ah, yeah. If anyone's curious too, the drink of today is gonna actually Hudson Whiskey, New York. Actually one of my favorite whiskey places in New York. Now that I don't live in New York anymore, whenever I'm in New York City, I always try and pass by and grab some whiskey from there. Very tasty though. Coffee as well, always needed. All right, so oh wait, so basically what happened was I need to just change this type. That's what it is. Line 66. So this needs to be int 64. I'm just gonna cast that. Boom. Okay, finally, we're good. First test down. I still don't understand why I didn't need to... Where was it? Did I just remove it? Yeah, so I still don't understand why I didn't need to mock out this query for some reason. But for some reason I needed to mock it out. So, alright, let's go with it. Alright, and then next thing I want to do is I'm going to mock up the right test with a cache actually does find something. So we're gonna do cache hit. And so in this case, all we need to do is return back, let's see, byte. And let's see, it's gonna be like ID 1 and then like text test. This is supposed to be a JSON response body. That should work. So it's not gonna call any of this. I'm gonna call this. I'm not gonna call this. I'm not gonna call this. And but all of this should still be the same. Let's try that. I'm sure there's gonna be an error of some sort. Yes. Let's try over here though. Error response is a little easier to read. All right, so this should have one item that has 0. All right. Let's get rid of this box. So first things first, I'm gonna say when it gets messages, I want to return back this. But I guess maybe what it should return is like an interface. Maybe? Show that. Nope, still the same error. Oh, I wanted to delete that debug message because we don't do that anymore. So we don't need this so much. But oh, I think I know what it is. Yes, because messages. Okay, I know the issue. So right now, this is a JSON body for one singular message. What I need to do is do a JSON body for multiple messages. So messages is going to equal that. This should be it. All right, so this is, looks like good JSON. That's there. Okay, let's try that. Ooh, got it. Yep, there it is. All right, and then the last thing I want to do is test the error path. So in this case, if this query returns an error, I want to get an error back. Yeah, so show that. So one more test, and it's gonna be the error path. So we go back here, copy some of this code. What I want to do is, but instead of will return rows, we're gonna do will return error. And then just gonna do some random error. Error is not new. Create a new error. So Ava, I'm not sure if you're still here, Ava, but if you are, I'd be curious to know like, what kind of technical support you do at your job. I've always, yeah, like I've never worked technical support, but you know, like at my job we have IT people, and like, you know, they do crazy good work. So I'd be curious to kind of see what kind of work you do. All right, so I think that should be fine. Oh no, I can't assert because I don't. This should be. Oops. This should be status 500. So right here, this should be status internal. And then execution, that's fine, I'll keep that. But I want to do I think it's fine actually. If I just do as long as it returns an internal error, then I'm fine. So let's try that. Handler return wrong status code. Got not 200 error. You know what the issue is that I want to return nil here. That's the issue. All right, now let's try it again. All right, seg fault. Line 50 again. But I shouldn't even be going to line 50 because I should be backing out here. Oh, I got return. Ooh, good thing I did that test. I got return here if there's an error. Gotcha. Nice. So, assuming like, you know, you finish 215, you do capstone or you do some sort of like, you know, you go on a job. Do you? Oh, actually, no. You said you're quitting your job. So I was gonna ask if you wanted to like work as an engineer at your current job. But I'm assuming the answer is no because you're quitting a job. Do you have like I don't know, like a fantasy company that you'd want to work for? Like any company that like that really interests you? remember when I was like getting towards the end of Capstone, yeah, more towards the end of Capstone. Like, you know, it's like starting to look at companies that were near me and like kind of fantasizing a bit, like, oh, that'd be really awesome to work for them. Okay. I don't know that. That makes sense to me now. So the issue here now is though that if I want to do Pluralsight, yeah, I use Pluralsight a little bit. Yeah, I think Pluralsight would be a pretty cool company. I mean, they seem like pretty engineering focused because, like, you know, they have a pretty good web app and all that stuff. And, like, their industry, like the whole education space, like Skillshare, Udemy, Egghead, there's a lot of competition, so I'm sure they're trying to innovate and like be, you know, #1 in that space. So I think I have to put nodes here too then. Ah, I gotcha. So are you working remotely then? Or just like they're like, they have an office in Cali just for engineers, essentially. Which I guess a lot of companies have that. I know, like, for example, Netflix is in New York. But I think it's mainly just like film studios. They don't have like any engineers that work in New York. It's mainly just like, yeah, the film part, whereas like all of their actual tech stuff is in Cali. Interesting, okay. Oh shit. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, there's actually there's another guy on this platform. There's another streamer. His name's like Vape Juice Jordan. I kind of watch him stream sometime, but he streams. It's interesting. He like streams during work hours, but I mean he has like really flexible work hours because, like, I guess Netflix doesn't really care when you work. At least for engineers, they don't care when you work as long as you get your work done. So he'll like stream in the middle of the day, and like, you know, on Twitch. And so I'll be watching him while I work. But he'll be like working on like his side stuff, and I'm guessing like at some point he works on Netflix stuff. But that's crazy. I imagine like IT support at Netflix must be crazy. I mean, like, it must be just like, you know, because the company is so massive. Yeah, I was watching him. I even asked him, like, are you working during work hours? Like, when do you, like, do your coworkers not care? He's like, no, my manager and my coworkers don't care. Like, at Netflix, you know, there's not really hours. So just like, as long as you get your work done, you get work done. It's like, that's pretty cool, actually. It's kind of a nice model. I feel like every tech company kind of says that, you know, like, we don't have hours, but, you know, they always schedule meetings in like those hours. So you kind of still have to like be present for those meetings. But yeah, for some reason, somehow he makes it work. So it works for him. I'm definitely a little jealous. I would definitely love to do that, where it's like during the day, relax a little bit, stream a little bit, and then, I don't know, some later point I'll work. Make this a little more readable to me. I've always read that, like, I at like Netflix, you know, it's kind of like a rank and yank system where it's like, you know, a lot of ratings and that kind of stuff. I mean, at least for the engineers and maybe for management too. Is it that way for you too? Like, do you feel a lot of pressure when you're working at Netflix, or is it a little more maybe chill in your department? Oh, nice. That's good. I mean, that'd be kind of tough. Like, every department in Netflix was like super just rigorous and like cutthroat. Do you feel like they have a pretty good budget for IT? Because I feel like at my company, I've heard complaints in the past about like our IT staff was like they felt kind of shortchanged, or they felt like they needed more help or more budget essentially. Is it that way with Netflix too? Do you feel like you're kind of short-staffed, or do you feel like they provide pretty good resources for IT? All right, so I'm gonna uncomment out this. Oops. Oh, interesting. So they don't like give each department their own budget. They just like, so as long as you need something and you have like verifiable proof that you need it, then they don't really care. Like, okay, here it is. Oh, that's cool. Like, in a hypothetical world, if you lived in Cali, and would you want to work for Netflix? Like, do you feel like it's like a good company to work for? Yeah, I mean, you always hear the stories about Netflix paying insane amounts of money, so it's like, yeah, you know, it's worth like maybe trying to like testing it out, you know, or like oh yeah, interesting work too for sure. Because like, you know, they're a leader in their space, so it's like, I'm sure there's like tons of problems to solve. I've definitely read about, or I listened to some podcasts about people who were at Netflix in the early days. And I kind of witnessed the transformation from, you know, doing the whole DVD business to now doing streaming, and like that was a whole crazy transition. So I'm sure they're working on tons of really interesting stuff. Oh, it's self. I should probably put a sentence self. Okay. Cache. Yeah, like it's something crazy like 400K or something like that, right? Like because they don't give you stock, right? So they basically give you the equivalent of what they would pay you in stock, but in cash, which is, I mean, to a lot of people much more valuable. I mean, I guess it's kind of equivalent because you could still sell your stock for cash, but it's like they just get like, you know what, I'm not gonna give you stock, but here's just straight cash, and you could like buy your own stock if you want to, but like they just give you straight cash. It's like, yeah, insane salaries. That's what I've heard at least. Oh, I do self. That's right. Self is shit. What is self? Is that integer? What up for self? Oh, so self is a string. Yeah, so self is a string. So what got you interested in doing software engineering? Like, was working at Netflix kind of like what sparked your interest in software engineering, or did you have like interest prior to it? I think one thing I want to do too, actually, is I'm gonna change this into user ID. I think I want to do that actually. I'll do it later. Ah, gotcha. So after getting your CS degree, did you get, was it like, the reason why I ask is basically my question is, after you got your CS degree, did you go right into like the software engineering field, or did you kind of hop around a little bit? That makes sense, yeah. Because I actually went to college for oceanography, so I have an oceanography degree. I have 2 degrees now technically, because I have the CS degree too. But my first degree was oceanography. But I didn't do anything with that. As soon as I graduated, I like worked as a barista, then lived in France for a couple months doing like wolfing stuff, like organic farming stuff. And basically I just kind of hopped around because I had no idea what I wanted to do. But after your CS degree, did you actually kind of go into the software field, but just more IT side as opposed to the programming side? Oh, nodes map, that's what it's called. Nodes map. Gotcha. Yeah, DevOps is pretty interesting. I mean, I think it's kind of died down a little bit. Yeah, I remember a couple like a year ago or like 2 years ago. I feel like DevOps was kind of like the hot button buzzword. You know, like everyone wanted to get in DevOps. I feel like it's kind of cooled down a little bit, but that's definitely still like a big industry. Like I feel like the company I work for, we kind of like a team around DevOps, or I feel like it's a little bit of a mixture. We have a team that kind of does a lot of DevOps stuff, but then each kind of team does their own DevOps in some way. But I feel like we do have like a core team that does like the core platform. So like, you know, for example, whenever we write applications, we deploy them to a Kubernetes cluster, and we have a whole team that is like in charge of managing that cluster. And then we also are able to provision like databases. So if we need a database, we can go to our database team and they can provision a database for us. And so they're kind of like the DevOps for our databases. So like definitely we have teams that do DevOps, and it's pretty like, it's cool in some ways, because like one way I'm a little jealous because you get to specialize really well in one area. So like, for example, the database guys or the database team, they're able to like really know databases really well. And then same with Kubernetes team, they're able to know Kubernetes really well. Whereas I feel like doing software, I don't know, I guess it's more my feeling, but like you kind of know a lot of things shallowly. Does that make sense? But like, you know, I can write this code, I can write an API, But if you ask me like how to really optimize a database or how to really optimize a Kubernetes cluster, I don't know, I can't really tell you much. I kind of depend on other people for that. Yep, exactly. Jack of all trades. So I think the next thing I want to do is create message handler. Yeah, let's try that. I'll write a test for that. So actually, so one thing I've noticed with this is, so last week I wrote this kind of create handler, and it kind of yeah, I'll write the create. Okay, I'll do tests first. So I'll kind of focus on one thing at a time. I'll write the tests, and then I'll kind of refactor it a bit. So let's do the tests first. That way I can kind of test things out. All right, it's gonna be. How do I do this? So I think maybe I'll probably want to write this out first without this whole like routing comment to code. So I'm gonna create a test first without, because this part makes it a little more complicated. I'm just gonna write the test without that comment out code, and then I'll make the test a little easier. Let's see. So what do? I basically decode the message, write to the database, invalidate the cache, and then encode it. Okay, that makes sense. I can do that. So, cache, all that stuff, that's good. New request, so it's gonna be a post request. Oops. Post request. And I do have a body. What's the body? It's gonna be, oh, I think, what is it? I need to pass in a IO reader, okay. So, what's my body? Create, okay. New message is gonna be request, or actually I'll create request. It's gonna be create message request. And then just, we'll have it be test, will be the text for it. I think a buff, is it buff new reader? Yeah, I think that's what it is. Buff new reader, what does this take? Let's check a string. Buff IO. Buff new reader takes a reader. Well, that's not very interesting. What should I do? Oh, maybe I can just go back to this. If I did a post request, what do they have here? Let's just get requests. Okay, I want actual. Is it buff IO? Is that a good one? If I do, what is JSON new decoder? What do I normally do for this? Go away. Oh, I can do Marshall. Okay, I'll do that. That'll be fine. So, what I'm gonna do is, so I got this. So what I'm gonna do is just turn this into a string. So, create body, I guess, or rect body. Here you go. Rect body. JSON Marshall. Yeah, and then what I can do here, I can do this. Ooh. There we go. All right.
You're going to love this. Just love it.
Rect body, that should be fine. So that should be fine. Post rect body, and then I don't need this. But actually, so instead of that, I will do on invalidate, and same thing actually. Cool. What did I see here? Ah, that's what it is. Bytes new buffer. There we go. Yeah, that's what it is. Body. So I need to create an I. Oh, good damn it. All right, and then pass in. There we go. Messages, return. Does it even return anything? No, it doesn't return anything. No, it doesn't return anything. And then I will do this. So it's going to expect this query with args. So we can test out what arguments to pass in. What arguments do I pass in? I pass in the message text, okay? So text is going to be test. And then it's going to return. So we'll return rows. This could be SQL mock new rows. What I did before. Yes, return the column names. It's going to be ID. And then it's going to be new row or add row. And I'm going to return back 1. That's the column name. Basically, this query is going to insert a message and it's going to return an ID. So even though it's an insert request, it's going to return a query. It's going to return a row. So technically, it's a query, even though it's kind of executing something. It's kind of interesting in that way. All right, so it's going to be passing in tests. It's going to return ID as a row. Create message handler. And it should be, I believe I have 201. The error is, yeah, status created. Okay. Status created. Yeah, that's a good question. So I guess you could say I've somewhat been interested in software for a while. You know, I had friends who did software in school, in high school, and so they kind of like, they talked about it, and I was kind of interested from there. I did some like basic HTML stuff, like nothing really crazy, like just building out some basic HTML pages. But what really got me interested was my wife, or then girlfriend, but I started dating my wife. She was a designer in grad school. And so even though she was a designer, she still had contacts, or she knew people who were software engineers. And so when she graduated, like, so I was working as at the time that I met her, I was working as a physical therapy assistant, or like kind of in the physical therapy space. And I was okay with it. I was actually planning on going to physical therapy school, like going to grad school for physical therapy. But when she graduated, she actually moved to Silicon Valley for a while and worked at a startup. And basically, I kind of got to know more and more software engineers through her. And like, it just seemed like talking to these software engineers, it seemed like software engineering field was a field to be really interested in. And so I still applied to physical therapy school. But I was almost like hoping I'd get rejected, because like my idea was like, okay, I kind of made an ultimatum for myself, is that if I get rejected from grad school, like from the software engineering grad school, I will try out software engineering. Like, I'm gonna try it out as like a field and get into it. And so luckily enough, I did get rejected. And it's like, okay, I got rejected, no plan B. You know, I'm not like, basically because I would have to wait another year to apply to grad school again. Okay, I'm not gonna wait another year for this. I'm not gonna work in my current job for another year. No plan B. I'm just gonna dive into software engineering and just to try it out. And luckily, I fell in love with it. Like for 6 months, I was doing like, treehouse stuff. I was doing some like web development stuff. But after a while, I found launch school, and then from there, just kind of, fell in love with launch school, did launch school stuff, and was able to get good enough to get a job essentially and do capstone. That's kind of where it was. But the whole idea kind of was like, I always liked the idea of having a skill that like, no matter how bad things happen in life, I would be able to like build something for myself. So so software engineering, I kind of had like, that was kind of like my idea of a skill that like, no matter how bad things happened, I would still have a skill that I can fall back on to build something. So I could get a job with it, or I could build my own thing if I really was desperate enough, or I really wanted to. I could build my own thing and try and build a business that way. So like, the whole idea was like to have the skill that would basically grant me freedom. And that's kind of like what software engineering was to me. It was like the skill that could grant me a little more freedom. So like, I like the idea of having like, okay, I want to have a skill of some sort that I can fall back on. And so that's what software engineering was for me, and it worked out. I'm very fortunate with it. I think something's wrong here. I think we put some. Oh, I think I also need to do this. Maybe put some escaping characters. Let's try that. Actually, let's try it without args first. Yeah, I feel like the software engineering world is very freeing in that way. Like you can, it's just very free. You can, like, you have a lot of job security to a degree. Like I don't feel too worried about like not having a job. I feel like I could like, there's so much in demand for software engineers that I never really feel like I have too much of a job worry. Sorry, excuse me. All right, so my test passed, so that's good to know. So I think now I want to do an error test. Let's try the error. Let's testing out the error path. So instead of returning, I'm gonna return will return error. And then so down here it should be status internal error. So do you live in the New York area? Or I guess the tri-state area, more accurate. Oops, what's wrong? Ah, right, because I don't call and validate on the error path. Boom, okay, cool. Now what I'm really curious about is when I add in these, when I add in this stuff, how is it gonna be? How will that change things? So I guess the first test case, so basically this whole idea, the whole idea of this is that it's going to route the create request to the appropriate cache node if it's not itself. So I guess the first thing I want to try and test that if itself is the correct cache node, route it to itself. So let's try that. Let's see. What's that? So let's go back to my Docker file. So here's my nodes map. I want to do basically API 1. Basically copy what I actually have in my real. Go to maybe 81. And then 2. 82. Gotcha. I visited Salt Lake City a while ago. So my wife and I, I originally used to live in Seattle, and so my wife and I, we decided to move to New York, and so we did a whole kind of cross-country road trip, and we actually passed by Salt Lake because I have a friend who lives there. Salt Lake's really cool. I like Salt Lake a lot. Salt Lake City. We went to also the Arches National Park. That was really cool. We've been debating, you know, because we don't really see ourselves living in New York for forever. So we've been debating, like, you know, where would we live if we didn't live in Salt Lake City, or if we live in New York, sorry. And one of the ideas was like, oh, possibly Salt Lake was one of them. Like I think we kind of see ourselves in a more naturey kind of area. So I'm from Seattle. I love trees, nature. So I always kind of saw myself in a more nature kind of area. We kind of settled. We right now the idea is Michigan, to eventually move to Michigan. We have some in-laws who live there, but for a while we were thinking Salt Lake City because we liked it a lot. Do you think you're gonna live there like for the foreseeable future, or do you ever see yourself moving? I copy that. I guess here shouldn't matter so much. There's like one. Actually, for this one, it shouldn't really matter. So actually, this one doesn't need it. I'm going to copy this though for the create request. Oh no, create request that does need it actually. So I'm just gonna copy this for the create request. Let's try that again. again. Test it out. Boom, still works. Nice. All right. Yeah, I actually know people like my wife. She knows at least a good number of people who are moving to Texas. Like most like I guess like Austin area. But yeah, there's like I feel like Texas is definitely like the next kind of boom area. At least like Austin, I feel like it's gonna be a big tech area. So I feel like, you know, for sure if you go into programming, like Austin or any kind of big city area is gonna be fine. Like no problem finding a job. I was thinking Austin too, actually, but like I think for me, Texas is just too far, like a really warm area. Like I grew up in Seattle, so I'm much more used to the temperate weather. Whereas like I feel like Texas is too like humid in the summer, and like humidity, like oh man, I can't deal with really intense humidity. Too much. Yeah, humidity is rough. It's really rough. Like my wife lived in Baltimore for a while, and so we lived. Like I visited her in Baltimore. You know, Baltimore's nowhere near like the humidity of like Texas. But man, even just the Baltimore humidity, it was that's crazy. Like before Michigan, Colorado was like a big area. 'Cause I used to live in Colorado. I loved it. Like nature everywhere. Like if you're thinking like nature place, Colorado is amazing. The only problem is that like most of her family lives in the East Coast. So that's why like we eventually thought like Colorado's gonna be too far away from family. But man, like I would if people live close to Colorado, I would love to go to Colorado. Like super temperate weather, nature everywhere, great place. So I think I should make this a shorter message. So this should redirect to itself because it's 3 characters long. So it should redirect to itself. Itself is this. So that should be fine. Let's try that. Ooh, got an error. What's happened? I failed. Yeah, I love Colorado. I want to visit again. What's happening? Oh, okay. There's a minimum expectation. Okay, what's going on here? Oh, I need to change this as well. That's why. I'm just gonna make this into a. There we go, that'll make it much easier. And then if I go here, now we're more dry. Much more dry programming. But yeah, I lived there for about a year, and man, it's great. I do love Colorado. Boom, there we go, that's good. Alright, so I'm gonna write one more test before I think. Probably for me, right now is the time to log off. But I'm gonna do one more test because I do want to test out this here. Actually, I might need to rethink this because I'm going to hash it. I'm going to redirect it. Yeah, things are more complicated for now, but okay. I think so. I have a good amount of tests. I think next time I'll finish up my tests for getting an individual message, because I still have this get message handler I haven't written tests for. But I have this whole, I think what I'm gonna do next time is I'm gonna write a new structure that will handle redirecting messages. That way I can mock it out. Because right now I actually do the whole messages stuff, and I don't want to actually write a test that does live message redirecting. But so I think next time I'll write a new structure that will handle that. But yeah, I think that's good enough for today. But yeah, thanks Ava for joining me and chatting with me. That was a lot of fun. I'm gonna check if there's anyone else live right now. I can kind of do a little raid on. I'll do Griffin. Oh, actually no, Vape Juice Jordan. So Vape Juice Jordan, this guy right here, he's the guy that I was telling you that works for Netflix. So I'm gonna raid his channel. Let's do a raid. Yeah, have a good night, guys. Do a raid in a second.
The gaming headset. Now all you need is the gaming battery. Upgrade your Xbox controller with Duracell Optima.
Okay, let's see if this works. Thanks so much, Paxos Rap, for the raid with Party 2. How's it going? How's your day doing? How's your day doing? How are you doing on your day? Shut up! Why you hate me so much? Yeah, then why are you saying how's your day doing?
Because that's what you said.
Oh my god. Alright, so we started, so now we should be able to do this. And this should serve... Oh, you'll notice, no Flash of unstyled content, fam. Alright. So now, let's check headers.